Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a bit of a mess. It's a game where the power level of archetypes and decks are determined by how many negates they can tank to the face before falling down, or by how many negates they can vomit onto the board in one turn. Naturally, because of this, board breakers are very much appreciated in Yu-Gi-Oh! One such board breaker that comes to mind in recent years is the card used by the most lovable U-Boy in Arc 5, that being Super Polymerization, the bane of any two dark monsters on the opponent's field, as they suddenly get turned into Starve Venom Dragon. Excuse my French. The use of Super Poly doesn't just extend to it being a non-targeting, non-destruction removal tool, but also the fact that nobody can respond to it, making it an absolute death sentence that you cannot save your monsters from. So what the hell happened in this video with Playmaker? Well, first let's do what most Yu-Gi-Oh! Enthusiasts hate, and read both card effects. So, Super Polymerization and Magician's Right Hand. First we look at Super Polymerization, a quick play spell that reads: discard one card, fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from either field as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. The phrase here, that will make sense later, is neither player can activate cards or effects. This will, like I said, be important later. Then the other card we need to look at is Magician's Right Hand, a continuous spell that says negate the effects of your opponent's first spell card or effect that resolves while you control a spellcaster monster, and if you do, or if it did not have an effect, destroy that card. Like stated before, Super Polymerization blocks any cards or effects from being activated in response to it, so it stops anything from being chained to it. So you can't chain anything to negate to it. However, what makes the negate work on Magician's Right Hand is the fact that it's an uncommon card, as continuous spells, equip spells, field spells, and the pendulum effects of pendulum monsters cannot have quick effect ignition effects to respond to a card to negate them. You can have this type of effect on a continuous trap, or a trap that equips itself to a monster and then negate it or do whatever. But generally for the previously mentioned types of cards, this can't happen. It can sometimes work for normal spells and for quick play spells, but not the others. So what Konami did to make those cards negate is, instead of making it an activated effect, they make it a passive effect that has a mandatory trigger after the condition is met. So basically, in the example, Magician's Right Hand states, negate the first effect or the first spell effect that resolves each turn while you control a spellcaster type monster. There is no option to activate it or not activate it. It must be the first effect. And because it's a passive effect, it doesn't activate in response to Super Polymerization. It activates the moment Super Polymerization resolves. So it basically makes Super Polymerization successfully fail. And later on, Konami made other cards like this that negate. For example, Cerulean Skyfire from the Sacred Beast deck, where they figured out they don't have to make it a mandatory effect and allows the player to choose, but the principle still remains the same. It isn't an activated effect, it's a passive effect that activates in the resolution of whatever you're trying to negate. The same for the Abyss scale equipped spells, and for a few of the Zexal weapon monsters, while they're equipped as equipped spells to Utopia or whatever giant beatstick you have. And the beauty of these types of effects are, because they aren't activated effects, 99% of the time they cannot be negated by the usual staple cards. For example, a card that's very prevalent in today's meta, Baron de Fleur, which says, once while this card is face up on the field, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation if you do destroy that card. Like I said, these aren't activated effects, so you cannot chain de Fleur to Magician's Right Hand or Cerulean Skyfire or one of those Abyss scale equipped spells, because they don't activate. So you cannot stop that negation. However, cards like Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, which targets a card and negates it, that does stop it, because instead of waiting for an activated effect to trigger, you can use the ignition effect to target it and negate it. And with that, this short explanation of what happened in Playmaker's video is done. I hope you enjoyed watching, and feel free to ask any rulings or weird effects you would like explaining to you in the comments, or when I get to community tab, I'll do polls or community stuff there. I would also like to give a shout out to Playmaker. He's an amazing content creator with deck analysis, videos and memes I enjoy. So if you don't know him, you should probably go check him out. And if Playmaker watched this, if you don't want to be using the clip in the start, please let me know and I'll remove it. Otherwise, I thank everyone for watching. Keep safe, and until next time, goodbye.